Is it on? Cool. I think it's on. This is always good material.
Oh, actually, yep, perfect.
It just went on.
You just went on.
All right. Hey guys. Today we're going to talk about the general fitness test out and what it is, what we're doing, and why we're doing it. So, in the spirit of starting with why, we're going to start with the mission of Trinity Fitness, what we're trying to accomplish, which is healthy people inside and out in every community across America. Please forgive the disheveled notes here, but just try to follow along with what I'm saying. So healthy people inside and out that's what we're aiming at, that's what we're after, and I think it's really helpful to discuss what is only tangentially related to that and is not directly in line with pursuing that goal. And that is skills. And what do I mean by skills? I mean double unders. I mean swinging, hanging gymnastics skills, stringing, kipping toes bar together, muscle ups. These movements have a high technical barrier, and they are frankly sport specific. They are specific to the sports of gymnastics or weightlifting, in the case of the snatch or the clean and jerk, or CrossFit, in the case of handstand push-ups against a wall, or like I said, double unders. So they are akin to, aiming at them is akin to aiming at a better jump shot or a better golf swing. There are plenty of fit people out there who are plenty fit and plenty healthy who don't have any of these skills. And then there are people who are plenty skilled who can do double unders and string toes bar together and do all these things. They can be highly skilled and yet quite unhealthy and unfit at the same time. And so in order for that to be the case, that has to mean that these movements, while they are fun and engaging and they're useful for attracting people to the gym and retaining people in the gym and getting people excited about coming into the gym, they're not directly in line with what we're trying to accomplish. Doesn't mean we don't do them at all or don't strive to improve in them, but they are a way that a person can express a skill is not necessarily directly related to how fit and how healthy they are. But there are some things that we can do in the gym that are, and we're going to get to those. So back to our vision, healthy people inside and out. The first thing we need to do, if that's what we're aiming at, is identify, assess, and train towards and develop meaningful parameters. And what do I mean by that? Well, there are clearly defined, measurable health parameters that we know what a good score and a bad score is. If you have a high score or if you have a good score in this parameter, that means that you are healthier. And some of those things are fat-free mass, abbreviated FFM, and that just means your lean body mass, how much body mass you have that is muscle tissue and not fat tissue or adipose tissue, as it's technically called. Another one is body composition. So what percentage of my body is fat tissue, is that adipose tissue? And then there are a series of others like heart rate variability, stroke volume, VO2 max, lactate threshold, metabolic efficiency. Some of those get harder to measure, but generally speaking, the better your scores are in those parameters, the more healthy you're going to be. And please don't take this the wrong way. There are certainly at the elite level athletes who are pursuing some of these things to an extreme, to the point where not only do the returns diminish for their health, but they become unhealthy to pursue even more world-class elite levels of them. So, but for the purposes of our general population, our warriors here in the gym, if we are if we are improving in those health parameters, then we know that we are accomplishing what we're here to do. And so there are there are phrases, terms that we can use in the gym that correlate directly with these health parameters. So I'll just go through those one by one. And so the first one, fat-free mass or lean body mass, is absolute strength. And what that means is your strength expressed in relation to an external object. So a barbell or a sandbag or some kind of external object. So if my absolute strength is improving, then it's pretty likely that I'm increasing or at least maintaining my fat-free body mass, depending on the athlete. For my body composition, my relative strength or my strength to weight ratio, if my strength to weight ratio or relative strength, my strength relative to my body weight is improving, then I know that my body composition is at least in check. If not, it's improving. Lastly, we use the term work capacity, and I'll explain how we're going to measure that. But essentially, if I am able to accomplish more work in the same amount of time, or if it takes me less time to accomplish the same amount of work, then I have increased my work capacity. And if I increase my work capacity, I know that my metabolic efficiency is probably improving, probably going to have some positive impacts on my heart rate variability, stroke volume, these other measures of health that we know are good, that we know if we're improving in them, that we are getting healthier. So, so now I'm going to describe the general fitness test out and what we're going to be testing in the context of one Trinity class and how each test correlates with each of these parameters. So the first test is 30 back squats for weight and time. And so what that means is, without getting into too much detail, you're going to get two scores. You're going to get the weight that you use and the time it takes you to complete the 30 back squats at that weight. And at another time, we can go into the details of how we're going to run that in the context of a class, but just to keep it more philosophical right now, that test is a measurement of absolute strength, which is a measurement of your fat-free body mass, which is a meaningful health parameter. So that is why we are doing that test. The second test that will follow directly, after a set amount of rest in a Trinity class is unbroken strict pull-ups. So you're going to get one score for this, and it's just going to be how many times could you extend your arms and then get your chin over the bar without dropping off the bar. And that is going to measure your relative strength, which is an indicator of your body composition, which means, yes, we're getting healthier. The last one we're going to do is a 7-minute row for calories, which, again, at the risk of repeating myself, is a measurement of how much work you can accomplish in a set amount of time. So your score for that is going to be the number of calories you get. So you're going to get one number, calories in 7 minutes. That is the amount of work you accomplish in a set amount of time. So if that number is going up, then we know that your work capacity is improving, and we know that you're improving in these health parameters, and you're getting healthier. We are accomplishing what we're here to do. So to go into some detail about why we chose these and not some other movements. They are very low technical barrier. It doesn't take a lot of as much learning to express your strength in a back squat as it does to express your strength in a squat snatch or a clean and jerk. Strict pull-ups. Again, a low technical barrier. We know we're measuring your relative strength. If we were to measure something like unbroken butterfly kipping pull-ups or something like that. There is a lot to gain in economy of movement that does not directly correlate with your relative strength. Whereas in your strict pull-ups, there's no faking it, so to speak. So if your strict pull-up set is improving, we know that your relative strength is improving. It's not that you are getting better at butterfly kipping pull-ups. It's that your relative strength is really improving. And the row, there is a bit of a technical barrier on the row, for sure. And I would say there's a similar technical barrier for running. Biking would probably be the lowest possible technical barrier that we could get to, but we simply have more rowers. So we can focus a little bit on rowing technique as you introduce the warriors to that. And there are some things that Jason will go into more detail about with setting the monitor so that the warrior can see the clock count down, they can see their calories go up, and then their rowing monitor stops and saves their score. And then they can see over the course of 1 minute splits over the 7 minutes if they pace properly. So we can go into more detail about that another time, but that's a big reason we pick these movements. Low technical barrier so that we know we're actually directly in line with what we're trying to measure and not measuring improving economy of movement or neuromuscular coordination or basically developing a skill. Another great thing about these parameters, why we measure them individually, is that they check and balance each other. So what I mean by that is by measuring them individually, I can see that if my absolute strength is improving, if my relative strength is not improving along with that, then I know how to address my training, or at least how I'm approaching my training as an individual to improve in what I need to improve on. If I have really high absolute strength, but my body composition isn't in check, then, so what I mean is they balance each other out. Somebody who's incredibly strong in an absolute sense, if I have more body mass, even if I have more fat mass, I may be increasing my absolute strength, but if my relative strength is getting worse, then that's not what we're aiming at. We're aiming at simultaneously, steadily increasing each parameter, or maintaining each parameter, or minimizing the decline of each parameter, depending on the age of the warrior over a lifetime. That is what we were aiming at. So the simultaneous pursuit of improvement in each of these three tests, combined to be the general fitness test out, is what we're aiming at here at Trinity. So the implications of that for our programming as a gym is that the crush battles, the metabolic conditioning, combined with some strength training is one of the most potent tools that we have to simultaneously develop all three parameters at the same time. Just because we're testing in this way doesn't necessarily mean that our training will change very much. But I think it is important to clarify why we're testing what we're testing and what it is that we're aiming at. Another point I want to make with these tests, guys, is comparing them to tests like Murph or Franny. Murph and Franny, there is nothing wrong with them, and they are what they are, and they are incredibly fun. They are super awesome for community, camaraderie. They're fun to do, and so it's not a bad thing to measure your Murph time or measure your Franny time and watch that improve. Why are we doing the general fitness test out then and not just doing Murph or Franny? Well, if my Murph time improves or my Franny time improves, we allow kipping typically on both of those workouts. And because you are getting a single time, a single score for thrusters, pull-ups, or air squats, push-ups, pull-ups, running, it is nearly impossible to know what I am actually improving in. if I improve my MRF time or my Franny time. It could be a number of things. If your MRF time improves or your Franny time improves, it could be that your work capacity is improving. It could be. It could be that you already have great economy of movement and your strength hasn't changed very much, and your work capacity is improving. You did the work faster. That's possible. Or your relative strength could be improving. Or your absolute strength could be improving, and the air squats and the thrusters are easier. So the point is that they're great, and we want to still do them because of all the reasons I mentioned, but it's very hard to assess an athlete and know what they actually need and what they need to improve in based on their MRF time. Another common one is, I learned how to kip. I learned how to do kipping pull-ups. And if you were doing MRF strict, and then all of a sudden you're doing 100 pull-ups kipping, you're going to go a lot faster. And that's great that your MRF time improved, but I don't know, as a trainer, I don't know for that athlete if they're actually healthier now, just because their MRF time improved. I don't know that. Whereas if I know their squat is improving, their pull-ups are improving, and their row are improving simultaneously, then I know they're getting healthier. I know they are. Because there's lower technical barrier and for all the reasons that we just mentioned. So, yeah, guys, that is an overview of the General Fitness Test Out and why we're doing it. And hope you enjoyed this video. And see you guys around.